Aloha, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We're looking at our Advent calendar and we have 2 more days, guys. This is amazing. We're already on December 23rd. Tomorrow we're going to go right here. Okay, let's see who's in there. Figure this out. Oh ho! Okay, that is Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. Yeah, beautiful. Buddha is, of course, an ascended master who has created an entire religion, the Buddhism, and his path is a path that is designed to relieve us from suffering. The relief of suffering comes from you being completely unattached and unaffected by outer circumstances, right? So if your happiness can be unaffected by what's happening for you or what's not happening, then you got it. That's enlightenment. And Buddha saw that, and if you know the story, he was a rich child of a very rich family, maybe the king, I don't remember exactly. And he went out into the streets once and saw all the suffering, and he grew up, without any suffering, without any lack, and he thought the world is that way, and he was very protected, very loved. And then he saw how the world outside can be, and saw all the suffering and the pain and the lack people were experiencing, and he said, I need to find a solution. He started to connect with his higher self and with God through his higher self, and founded the path and channeled the teachings of Buddhism, which is an eightfold path, and you can read more about it. And it has all to do with detaching from what the senses give you as input and becoming so aware that you can't get caught really in your ego. And that's where the similarities come in again. Not getting caught in your ego, being unattached from circumstances, your happiness to be, eternal. And that way you can get an understanding and a glimpse of your eternal nature. And when you meditate, and you've sometimes maybe had that smile come up, that inner smile, or when I say, who am I really? Bring up that question. That's designed for you to actually have an experience like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, when that smile comes up in your inner meditation, in your inner being. He said, he was sitting with one of his students, and the student said, what is enlightenment? And Buddha was sitting with him, and at some point, that smile came over his face. And I may be cutting this story a little short because that's the part I remember. That smile came over his face, and I know what smile that is. That's a smile we get. And if you've had that, then you're very connected. You're basically one with your higher self. You're all of a sudden in this bliss where you're unattached and unaffected by what's going on in the outer world. Now, our teachings go from there. They start there. They bring us there into the higher self connection, and then it starts from there to actually go and affect the world from that place, which means bring about solutions, because now you are in that connectedness, really in oneness, and therefore you're not part of contrast, and there's no problem in that state. And if you're in a state of no problem and not in contrast, but actually in oneness, you can then affect with your own energy, your focus, and your intention, the world of contrast and problems in a very, very positive way. That's where healing happens, that's where harmony happens, and that's where miracles really happen, and obstacles are being removed. So I'm sending you much, much love here with Buddha, amazing ascended master, wonderful being to call on, even if you're not a Buddhist. I call on Buddha as well. I have a Buddha statue at home, several. And because Buddha is a representative of that inner peace that is absolutely undisturbed by circumstances and that relieves all suffering within ourselves. So sending you much, much love from here, and blessings and aloha.